Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
We're going to win the Olympics. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yes, and we will beat South Africa.
And we will beat South Africa. You're a good man. Let's talk about the market. We're dropping about 16 points today for the NSE 20 share index. What led to this?
Well, thank you. I mean, towards the end month, you would expect that people will want to liquidate some of their shares. So that would come into play through a market adjustment, what you have seen happening today. Beyond that, of course, towards the end month, the currency also loses some ground because of imports. But all those factors said, I think in the long run, the market is still stable, and we will look at better performance either towards the end of the week or after stability by beginning of next week.
Let me run through the earnings report we saw out today for Diamond Trust Bank, whose profit before tax up 39% for the first half of the year, sitting at around 2.86 billion shillings because of higher net interest income. What did you make of this?
Well, first, you should realize that Kenya is generally an underbanked country.
How so? We have just under 50 banks.
Yes, we have a population of about 40 million.
Yes.
Of these, they say that only about 60% are banked, which means that there is still a population that is not banked. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this means that the banks are already having enough demand to last them and to give them profits. But beyond that, Diamond Trust Bank has presence not only in Kenya,
right,
but in the region as well. And there's a lot of money coming from the region, especially banks that have taken the strategy of going into the region are making money out of it, notably in South Sudan and Uganda as well. And
there are falling interest rates, so it expects its income to keep increasing over the next second half of the year, which is again what most of the other major banks, KCB and Equity we've seen and who also operate in the region have said.
Absolutely. I mean, the banking sector is doing quite well. KCB exceeded expectations by doing about 48%
right,
in growth before in their half-year results. Equity Bank also did quite well. And you would expect this also to be translated in smaller banks like Diamond Trust Bank and others. Going into the rest of the year, the first half of the year is usually where the greater test is. But going into the second half of the year, you would expect that the shilling will be more stable, the interest rates will have fallen, and this will result into better income for the banking sector. Probably the only danger in all this is inflation. That might be driven by political
uncertainty around the election?
Yes, indeed.
And the central bank hopes it could stay somewhere below 9%. That's a new target. Speaking of earning expectations, Diamond Trust Bank, which recorded a full year loss, now today jumping to 7-month high, sitting at around British American investments rather, 5 shillings 90 cents, because everybody expects they will swing back into a profit.
Yes, indeed. British American investments has both the asset management and the insurance. And it would seem like in the past few weeks, the insurance sector has been doing very well due to better sentiments in the market concerning the market, the sector. But more important is that there is financial stability in the country as we are speaking right now. So a financial services business like British American Investment would be expected to perform much better than it did last year. And I think that is what is driving investors towards it.
I need to talk about another interesting counter, which is a Standard Group, the media company, seeing last week the CEO Paul Melly and the COO Savjit Chana both leaving. Melly will be leaving within 6 months. But this is an unusual development because we haven't seen quite something like this. Within the same week, 2 key C-level executives leaving, and a lot of people saying the company has been largely underperforming of late.
Yeah. I want to tread carefully on this one.
And also, full disclosure, I am an ex-employee of the Standard Group. Until 2010, I used to work there.
Right, but I would have driven, if I were asked, I would have driven towards the exit of several senior management from Standard Group earlier on.
Yes.
And so to me, this is not bad news per se.
Yes.
I wish the two gentlemen all the best. But the Standard Group has a lot of potential which is not coming out in terms of money. I mean, we expect to get better results out of Standard Group, which is not coming out.
Yes.
So this is not at all a bad thing. If the board decides that this is the way to go, obviously it's a good thing. We're hoping that it will bring better days to Standard Group.
And the statement, the NSE said the board is currently searching for a new chief executive. No word on who that might be yet.
Larry Madowo, probably.
Oh, you never know.
You never know.
Excellent. Finally, the shilling has hit a 2-month high today because banks are curbing supply and the central banks are very actively still in the repo market. What do you expect it to play out this month?
Well, first, I'm happy that the CBK realized what everybody else in the market had noted, that there was too much liquidity by end of last week, and they have come into the market big with the repos to stabilize the market. Going into the week, obviously, given the action by the central bank, we're looking at a more stable shilling. But I don't think it will get anywhere out of the 84.15, 84.25 range in the short run, given that the pressures that are in the market are still, so to speak, unchanged. So it's something we're looking at, and I think the status might be maintained for a while.
All right, we'll leave it there. Asante sana, William.
Thank you.
William Odhiambo, Managing Consultant at Elim Consulting.